Hello all, my name is Noah Mott and I will be giving a brief overview on the Republic of Panama or República de Panama. Some of the things I'm going to cover today regarding Panama include a brief look at the geography and demographics of the country, followed by a brief overview of Panamanian history. Afterward, I will cover the political structure and government, economy, Panama's Human Development Index and ranking, and I will finish up with the future outlook for the country. The country of Panama, with its capital Panama City, is located in Central America and covers about 75,420 square miles. To the east lies the country of Colombia, and to the west, Panama borders Costa Rica. Despite its small size, Colombia has some very diverse regions that include sandy beaches, rainforests, rivers, and high mountains towards the center of the country. Panama is home to one of the largest rainforests outside the Amazon and is also home to perhaps the most strategic man-made structure in the Americas, the Panama Canal. The primary language spoken in Panama is Spanish, although English is also spoken along with numerous indigenous languages. The people of Panama are ethnically diverse, with a mestizo or mixed racial group making up 65% of the country, and Native American groups making up roughly 12%. The dominant religion of Panama is Roman Catholicism, with a Protestant minority making up around 15%. Despite its small size, population is still quite sparse in areas outside of Panama City, and with around 1,500 islands surrounding the country, the majority are uninhabited. The history of Panama has been somewhat less turbulent than most in Latin America, but no less significant. In 1519, Panama became a Spanish viceroyalty and was ruled by Spain until it achieved its independence as part of the Gran Colombia Confederacy, which included several other Latin American countries. After Gran Colombia collapsed, it became a part of Colombia, which it seceded from in 1903 with support from the United States, which has always had a vested interest in Panama due to its geographic significance as a narrow point between the two largest oceans. From 1968 to 1989, Panama was governed by military rule, culminating in an eventual invasion by the United States to overthrow General Manuel Noriega, who is pictured shortly after his capture, due to his repressive regime and drug trafficking. Also of significance was the release of the Panama Papers in 2016, which highlighted Panama as a tax haven for many world leaders. As I mentioned before, the Panama Canal is perhaps the most strategic man-made object in the Americas due to its point of connection between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The French failed to complete a canal in the 1880s due to financial burdens and the death of some 20,000 workers due to tropical disease. The United States began building the Panama Canal in 1903, and following its completion, held control of the canal until 1999, when it was finally returned to the Panamanian government. The canal has lasting economic importance for Panama due to its use by some 15,000 vessels that traverse it annually. The current Panamanian government is a presidential republic with 10 provinces and 3 indigenous territories representing a population of around 3.9 million people. The executive branch is currently being run by President Juan Carlos Varela, who is both the chief of state and head of government. The president is elected for 5-year terms. The legislative branch, which is run by the National Assembly of 71 seats with 45 members, who are directly elected in multi-seat constituencies by proportional representation, and 26 of which are directly elected single-seat constituencies through plurality vote. These positions are also 5-year terms. The judiciary, with its highest body called the Supreme Court of Justice, has 9 magistrates and 9 alternates appointed by the president for 10-year terms. The economy of Panama is heavily reliant on the operation of the Panama Canal. Although the economy has vastly improved since the 1980s, there is still a great deal of income disparity in the country, with nearly a quarter of the population living in poverty and around 40% living in extreme poverty. Public debt in Panama has grown to about $32 billion. The Panama Canal has recently just completed an expansion to allow larger vessels to traverse the waters, and an additional metro line was built in Panama City, both of which are expected to improve the economy. The major exports of Panama are fruit and nuts, fish, iron and steel waste, and wood, while its major imports include petroleum products, machinery, vehicles, and pharmaceuticals. Panama has a Human Development Index ranking of 60 of 188 countries at 0.780. Its ranking is shared with Palau. This current ranking was an increase of 23% between 1980 and 2012. Despite this increase, the inequality adjusted HDI is 0.604 due to uneven distribution of wealth. The Gender Inequality Index also remains about average for Latin America, despite significant improvements and social reforms. The future outlook for Panama is positive, with economic growth expected to remain one of the highest in Latin America and the Caribbean, with short-term annual growth at around 6 to 6.5%. Public investments are expected to remain high due to the recent expansion of the Panama Canal and the second metro line in Panama City. Additionally, significant progress has been made to reduce poverty in the country, but poverty and extreme poverty remain at high levels in areas inhabited by indigenous peoples. Some areas that must be addressed going forward are infrastructure, education, and the effectiveness of government and public institutions. The government has laid out a 5-year strategic plan that looks to tackle many of these problems going forward.